course, let's start with this Superman trailer. And love, I can't wait to hear what you thought about this. Just give me all the meats and the potatoes.
The first time I watched it, I didn't love it. I think I liked it more on the second time. But it's just a teaser trailer, so they didn't show much. They just kind of showcased each of the characters that are going to be in the movie. But I did love how it starts with the wheezing sound of Superman. Like that's all you hear at first, and he's laying in the snow. You're kind of wondering who could have done this to him. But James Gunn said he wants to humanize the character. So I think kind of showing this from the start is a good way to do it. He definitely has the look of Superman. I know we all love and miss Henry Cavill, but I like it. There's definitely a James Gunn vibe going on. The trunks are back. That's a solid classic look. And there is a good difference between Clark and Superman. Like Clark has the slicked back hair, but then when he's Superman has the slicked back hair, but when he's Clark, it's like curly and down in front. He has the glasses and he like totally acts different. So I like the difference between the two.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a fro. I mean, that
Yeah.
was some like a curly ass hair.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I absolutely love how it starts with him pretty much destroyed in the beginning, half dead. Tell me that doesn't symbolize DC as a franchise. Just half dead. No one believes in them. They've been beaten up. They certainly don't look like they can get up and fight. And then Krypto, dude, he calls his dog, says, "Take me home," and that feels like more symbolism. Like take me home, back to like take DC back home, back to its legendary
Yeah.
status. And it's just the perfect character to do it with. Superman is the symbol of hope for DC, and I don't know, that felt really powerful. Krypto, I mean, that was just a really fun part, like seeing a freaking Superman dog come in. That does feel pretty James Gunn, right?
Mm-hmm.
It all feels very James Gunn. It's so colorful. It felt pretty special. It did. I absolutely loved it. I think it was perfect. I think it really showed the tone of this. It looks action packed. It looks crazy. It looks, I don't know. I really love all the other characters. Mr. Terrific looked great. Didn't love Guy Gardner, but that is how he looked in the comics. So
Right.
that is what it is. I'm really curious the roles they play, and we're going to get into some quotes. And he's kind of talking about generally what's going on with those characters and why they're in the movie, and that they're not just cameos, basically, for the sake of having cameos. But my God, I feel like DC's back. I haven't been very quiet about how I really believe that this is going to be a good franchise, and I think this is a perfect little teaser trailer, and it broke records. It's the fifth most viewed trailer. I think it's in within 24 hours.
Right.
Fifth most viewed trailer ever.
Damn.
Fifth. I mean, that beat out Infinity War, that beat out Ultron, that beat out all the Star Wars movies. It's the first most viewed trailer in 24 hours for WB or DC at all, ever.
Makes
So
sense.
we're looking at The Dark Knight, Batman vs. Superman, which wasn't a great, critically received movie, but at the same time, it made a ton of money, and it was a
A
very
different era too.
different era. So that's crazy. Actually, do you want to guess the four that are ahead of the Superman trailer
All time
for most views in 24 hours?
for a trailer. Are they
Yeah,
all? Are they fandom movies?
they are all fandom movies. Actually, they're all Marvel.
Endgame,
Yep.
Black Panther.
Nope. And Endgame actually has two because the Endgame teaser and the full
Oh,
Endgame
okay.
trailer count as two. So there's only two more. And one of them is recent.
Is it Guardians? No, wouldn't be
Nope.
Guardians.
Nope. It was this year.
Oh, Deadpool.
Yep. Deadpool.
Deadpool. Right.
And then the last one guess, and then I'll tell you.
Is it Marvel as well?
Yep. And it's the most recent phase of the MCU. Post Endgame.
Huh. Post Endgame. It's not Ant Man, is it?
Nope.
Quantumania, because of Jonathan Majors. No.
Right.
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, duh.
Yep.
Duh.
So one interesting thing about that is all of those movies made $1 billion. Every single one of those four movies made over $1 billion. Shit, the Avengers made, I think, a couple billion.
Like three.
Yeah. So, because I was always of the mind that I don't think Superman will reach 1 billion just because DC doesn't really have the trust of the public. So I'm still guessing the $800 million range, and I'm just trying to be modest. I want it to make 1 billion. I just, DC doesn't have the trust of the fans. So, but I don't know. There's been so much hype around this universe, especially like comic book readers. A lot of my buddies who are just movie fans, including you and Dave, right? Like, not don't believe in it as much as I do, understandably. But then the comic book people that read DC, they're like, we're gonna get this on screen now. It's finally gonna be done right. And for a year, I mean, he dropped the news about this way over a year ago, and I feel like people have just been hyping it up, hyping it up. It's the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe it does do 1 billion, dude. I don't know, but I don't think they need to make 1 billion for the DCU to be successful. I think this needs to be critically well received,
Yes.
and people just need to really like the movie for the DCU for that to like look good for the DCU. You don't need you don't even need an $800 million movie out of Superman. It would certainly help. I don't think you need it. I just think it needs to be good, and I believe it's going to be good.
Because it does go head to head with Fantastic Four. So that will be the one issue at the box office. But I still think, yeah, 800 million is not crazy at all.
Yeah, and it could have a Barbenheimer effect
Yeah. I mean,
potentially.
I'm going to see both.
Hell yeah.
That's for sure.
People might like one, not committed to the other, but they're so hyped out because I think Fantastic Four is going to be incredible as well.
So who do you think did that to Superman? This is the gods and monsters phase. So do you think they did show that action scene with the monster? So do you think maybe that's what's going on, or do you think it's something else?
I think that monster is more like edit that. More like one of those first scene action scenes, like we get like Guardians 2, they fight that
Right.
big monster. Because like that was probably my least favorite part of the trailer, to be honest. I don't really want a kaiju in my comic book universe.
It kind of reminds me of the Suicide Squad too, with the big
Starro.
star. Starro, yeah.
And I didn't love the third act of Suicide Squad, but I will
Me
say
neither.
Starro is a very significant comic book character, so I have less of a
Right.
problem with Starro. But this kaiju, I'm not a huge fan of. I saw stuff online like, okay, well, that fight with the kaiju caused so much destruction, and that's why Superman is walking around getting stuff thrown at him because like he didn't prevent this destruction and stuff like that.
You think
But
it ties into Peacemaker?
some of it is
Or-
guaranteed.
Suicide Squad?
Well, some of it's guaranteed to tie in because Rick Flag is going to be out for vengeance for who killed his son, which took place in Suicide Squad, and
Okay.
Rick Flag is going to be in the movie. So
Interesting.
obviously Superman's not at fault for that, but Rick Flag being in that show, Rick Flag being the main character in Creatures Commandos, we'll get a little bit of that. And it's funny, like he said, like yeah, certain parts of Suicide Squad are canon too. And, it's getting a little weird, but those are Suicide Squad and Peacemaker are so isolated that you could do that. You could just say it's canon, and that's fine.
Right.
But going back to your question, who did that to Superman? I don't think it was that kaiju, and if it was, that would be annoying. But maybe that Ultraman character, the one that kind of looks like Black Noir.
Oh, right.
I think he is.
Black Noir.
I think he is a creation of Lex Luthor. I think he has Kryptonian DNA because of Lex Luthor doing that in the lab. And if that is true, I think he'll end up being Bizarro. Bizarro's like that weird, mentally incapable version of Superman that's just a very
bizarre.
off, very kind of like not zombie, but kind of like halfway to zombie.
Okay.
Just a weird creation in a lab that ends up being just a weird, childish, stupid Superman, an abomination, pretty much.
Okay.
And if it's not Ultraman, I don't know, dude. But I also like that they started the trailer that way to show, like, yeah, he's not like Superman being such an overpowered character. Like, we
Right.
are guaranteed to have someone there going toe to toe with him that whoops his ass. And how does he come back and fight him after that? That's a lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's a great way to start the trailer when it's Superman. Like you have to
Yeah.
show that he's not invincible.
And you're right, the wheezing. The wheezing made it
Yeah.
feel so like, damn.
So how'd you like Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor? I don't know if I love it yet. I do like him as an actor overall. He was in the X-Men, obviously, and The Menu. Did you see The Menu with where they
No.
go to like the random place to try the meal, but things go crazy? But yeah,
I
I don't know. It's a tough character to cast, I guess, because I feel like they haven't done well so far.
I don't think he looks the part exactly, but I do believe he's going to do a really good job.
I like the emotion he was showing in his face. Like
He
he's
did show
definitely
a
a good
ton of
actor.
emotion. And that's kind of a perfect segue into what James Gunn says about their relationship as a whole.
Okay,
But to answer your question, I didn't like necessarily love the look, but that's
kind of like Guy
just
Garner.
looks. Yeah, kind of like Guy Gardner. I like Lex Luthor's look a little better than Guy Gardner. That guy looks goofy as hell. But I like the ring powers, though. You know, I mean, we got
Mm-hmm.
one little shot, but I'm really excited to see a Green Lantern on the big screen. We haven't seen it since Ryan Reynolds, that failure of a movie. Well, also the Justice League, the Snyder cut, a
That
little
was in
glimpse.
theaters though. But yeah,
Yeah, barely counts.
a
But I'm really,
flashback.
really
Yeah.
excited for that lore. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, what James Gunn said about Lex and Lois Lane, he said Superman's already existing. We're just starting in the middle of the action, right? He said Lois and Clark already know each other when the movie starts.
Right.
Lex already hates Superman's guts from the beginning, but they
Mm.
haven't known each other personally,
Okay.
which I found interesting because in the comics they met in Smallville. Lex Luthor is from Smallville, and they were kind of friends in maybe high
Huh.
school, and that's where a lot of he didn't know he was Superman, but yeah, Clark Kent and Lex Luthor knew each other when they were young, so apparently that's not the case, unless because James Gunn is really about this duality of Clark Kent and Superman. Like they're different characters. That's why he said he wanted all these other superheroes in the movie so you can have characters for Superman to bounce off of, not
Right.
Clark Kent. So maybe that's a play on words, whereas he doesn't know it's Clark Kent. He hasn't met Superman per se, but maybe he still has met Clark Kent. You never
Maybe
know, but
Clark wrote an article about him that he doesn't like.
which is very much from the comic books. That's totally true. That
Right.
happened.
He just like is writing articles telling the truth about Lex Luthor's like business schemes and
The
whatever else.
corruption side of
Yeah,
it.
the corruption. Yeah.
Yeah, and Clark Kent totally does that in the comics, and then that leads to them meeting, and he hates him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is interesting. We also got quotes on David Cornsweet talking about why they chose the red trunks, and that wasn't James Gunn idea. Apparently, that was David Cornsweet's idea.
Hmm.
Well, this is a James Gunn quote, but he's talking about David Cornsweet. He said, David said something to me that really affected me. Superman wants kids to not be afraid of him. He's an alien. He's incredibly powerful, could be considered a scary individual, and he wants people to like him. He wants to be a symbol of hope and positivity, so he dresses like a professional wrestler. He dresses in a way that makes people unafraid of him, and that shows that.
I guess the trunks do add a little less fear. You know, kind of like that. Like
Yeah.
okay, Nacho Libre, I see you.
Yeah, if you're looking at Henry Cavill's Superman right next to David Cornsweet's Superman with the red trunks, I'd be like,
Well, especially
Cor-
Black Suit when he comes back at the end of this night, like the Justice League
yeah,
compared
whole
to
nother
this.
level.
Yeah.
Whole nother level. So I also don't love the trunks, but I don't care that much. It's not going to change the movie.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It has an old school look to it though. I feel like, and you don't want it to be too close to the Snyderverse. You want this new, fresh start, new universe. Like let's not make the outfit like the new age kind of like Captain America's suit in the Infinity War is really cool.
Oh
And
yeah, I thought you were
Endgame.
gonna say the first Avengers. No,
No,
yeah,
no.
it
Yeah,
is.
like the updated, like, modern version of their suits, kind of the same thing Snyder was going for, but with this, let's go back to the comic book style classic Superman outfit.
Yeah, I mean, and you even had that Christopher Reeves like kind of a soundtrack, except with electrical guitar.
Hmm.
And how did that feel nostalgic if I've never even seen the Christopher Reeve Superman movies? It just felt
Right.
so cool. I've definitely heard that music.
Hmm. The
Yeah.
OG John Will. It's John Williams too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure the original Superman score is
And
John
while you check
Williams.
that, did this teaser increase your excitement? Are you still the same? Or did it maybe even lower it? Like, ah, this is bullshit.
It's confirmed John Williams. Um, I'd say it about stayed the same. I would say it didn't go down or up because I did have faith that James Gunn was gonna create a better universe than what they had going on before.
Yeah.
And Superman is not one of my favorite characters for sure, but that's because I feel like he hasn't gotten a fair shake at it yet. Henry Cavill was just starting to get into the character and everything fell apart. So with this new universe starting off with him is very important, just like how they did with Iron Man. And they're going to grow this character throughout. I'm sure he'll be in other people's movies. There'll be a Justice League down the road. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for sure.
Yeah.
My hopes are up.
Hell yeah. One other thing James Gunn said is for the action sequences, particularly the aerial scenes, they're using inspiration from Top Gun Maverick. They're using drones to capture Superman's fight scenes. He said, we shoot a lot of our action with actual drones flying in and around Superman. Flying in Superman, baby. In and around Superman and the people that he's fighting with, like the engineer or whoever else. We did not get a shot of the engineer in this trailer, by the way. So he said, we got these really small, crazy drones now. We've got some of the best flyers in the world who we're working with. And I got to say, that sounds pretty dope. But it's also confusing because it's not like the actors up there flying. I mean, so I guess you just have drones in the actual air for the beautiful background and the very aerial feel to it, but the fights will be CGI.
At like 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. So like the background won't even be CGI. Like the setting in the air will be real. But then I'm sure the fighters will obviously be CGI.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it sounds awesome. Yeah.
They use drones for everything these days, I guess.
Right? Well, yeah, but you see all the weird stuff about this crazy uptake of drone sightings in like New Jersey
East
and
Coast,
stuff.
yeah.
People are like Project Bluebeam. They're going to fake an alien attack anytime now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. One more thing on Superman, then a couple of regular DCU quotes. But he also said, Mr. Terrific is one of the most important superheroes. He said, I love Mr. Terrific. These characters all get their moment in the sun. They all have their moments. They are not just cameos. These are the characters, their supporting cast. But Mr. Terrific is the main character of those characters. He's a big part of the plot. So
who's Mr. Terrific again?
He's the dude that has that black T across his face that he was shown in the trailer with some cool little force field sphere as people are shooting him.
Okay.
I don't know as many. I've read a ton of comics, not a lot of Mr. Terrific stuff, so I don't really know his character much. I do know that he is like a crazy genius. He's like one of the smartest people on the planet. I don't know what his powers are, but I'm excited. I'm excited. Whatever he's got cooking,
right?
I'm down for that.